What is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be answering some more of your guys' questions on the zombies storyline. Today I'm going to be answering a few things that you guys have been asking me. Remember, if you have any questions that you guys want to know on the zombies storyline, make sure to leave them in the comment section below, and hopefully I can answer them for you guys in the next video. As always, if you enjoy, a like rating would be very much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies videos on the channel, and without further ado, when you're ready, let's do this. So the first question comes from GreatGamer69. He says, what happened to the soldiers on Nacht? Well, it's a pretty simple story. On June the 4th of 1945, as Group 935 were in the process of creating an undead army, they were transporting the undead and Element 115 between Group 935 facilities. They were transporting zombies and 115 between De Rees to Verrückt to Kina der Toten, and whilst one of the German army trucks was driving through an airfield, an allied plane flying above malfunctions and crashes into the truck that was carrying 115 and the zombies, causing a massive outbreak of the zombie horde on the airfield. As we know, the 4 Marines that survived the crash then had to hold out against the undead in a nearby bunker. They had to survive in this bunker for as long as they could, keeping out the undead. But eventually, the 4 Marines would have been overrun and killed. So to simply answer your question, what happened to the soldiers on Nacht? In the end, they were overrun by the zombies. The next question comes from Rect Alfs. I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but he says, where did Fluffy come from? So I'm not going to go into too much detail since I've already done a full story of video on Fluffy, Samantha's hellhound. If you want to check it out, I'm going to leave the link down in the description for you guys. But to give you the short, basic version, Fluffy was a dog, particularly a German Shepherd, that Maxis brought for Samantha. Because she was lonely and getting bored of Maxis bringing her to the De Rees facility, to keep her company, Maxis brought his daughter Samantha a dog. This dog was named Fluffy, and as we know, Fluffy was pregnant. She was due to have pups. But as we know, soon enough, Maxis and Richtofen began to experiment on the dog. That was until one day an experiment went wrong. Maxis used Fluffy in the teleportation experiment. She got teleported away, but instead of returning straight back to the mainframe, she was teleported for a few seconds to somewhere else. When Fluffy eventually returned back to the teleporter, she was infected. As we know, it's at this time that Samantha walks in. She sees what Maxis has done to her dog. Maxis and Samantha both end up being trapped up a corner in the teleporter by Fluffy, and then Richtofen teleports all 3 of them away. Whilst Maxis is teleported to the crazy place and Samantha is teleported to the moon, Fluffy is teleported to the ether, where she gives birth to her pups. And now, since Samantha is in control of the zombies, she has the ability to spawn Fluffy's pups down on Earth to attack Richtofen and the crew. Since Fluffy becomes infected with 115 and her pups are born in the ether, Samantha now has the ability to control them. And that is the simple story of Fluffy. Like I said, I've done a much bigger version with a lot more detail, and because of that, I'm not going to go into detail in this video. But if you want to check it out, again, I will link it down in the description for you. The next question comes from MK Fathelia. Sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly, but this person says, BlackOpsAmazing, what happens when Samantha ignores the window in the house? So since Origins, we've learned a lot more about the zombie storyline, but the first time we ever saw the house properly was in Origins. Now, we have seen it before in Kina der Toten, but that was just Samantha's bedroom, and we didn't really understand what was going on. But even in the original version of Kina der Toten, the window was broken. You can see in the evil version of Samantha's room, the window technically is open, it's broken. And then in the normal version of her room, the window's closed. And this is a good reference when I'm going to come back to in a little bit. But if we go over to the Origins cutscene, take a listen. Maxis tells the children to lock the windows, make sure they are closed before they come down to the basement. And it's always been a massive mystery as to why Maxis tells the children to do this. Why does he tell them to make sure the windows are locked and closed before they come down to the basement?
As the gates to Agartha opened, the 4 heroes were rewarded with riches beyond imagination. From that day forward, they knew that Samantha would keep them safe. Forever.
Getting everything wrong. I told you before, their eyes should be blue.
It's my turn, Eddie. I can do whatever I want.
But you don't even know how to play properly. Girls don't know enough about zombies.
Put some toys away, children. Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
We'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
Tomorrow, Eddie. You get to make the rules. I promise. Come on, Fluffy.
I wish the heroes in our stories were real, Sam.
I know what you mean. But we will make everything okay. My dad says he has a plan.
In the new Zombies Chronicles trailer that we got, we saw Samantha sitting in her bedroom with a snow globe. We see we travel through the worlds of our zombies maps, and then eventually we get back into Samantha's bedroom. But following us through this bedroom, there seems to be a green mist around the screen. And you see when this green mist goes past a candle, for example, the candle will blow out, it will go dark. When it goes over certain objects, it will knock them over. This green mist isn't just an effect. In fact, this is something floating, going around Samantha's room. And then we go back to the snow globe, we go through some more maps, and then we come back into Samantha's room once again, and that green mist is back, following us, or we are looking through its eyes in Samantha's room. This green mist is something. Now, I kind of covered this in a video not too long ago, but this green mist looks to be something evil, blowing out the candles as it travels through Samantha's room. Clearly, it doesn't want light. It likes to stay in the shadows, stay hidden, just watching, lurking. Whatever this is, it seems to be watching or seems to be after Samantha. Now, you will notice at the end of this, the window all through this was open. All this time, the window has been open. And at the end, as Samantha stands up, she suddenly disappears, and then it seems that another version of her walks in the room, realizes the window is open, and she closes it. So what could this be telling us? Clearly, it's important if we have Maxis telling us to close the windows in the Origins cutscene. Samantha even realizes in this new Zombies Chronicles intro that the window is open, and so she closes it. For some reason, it is important for that window in the house, in Samantha's bedroom, to be closed. And I believe that reason is to stop the evil, more than likely the apothecans, from entering Samantha's room. And in fact, it seems like an apothecan or some type of evil already had entered Samantha's room. It was in there with her. And that green mist around the screen was a representation of that. That was a great evil, maybe an apothecan. Was it the Shadow Man? Since we know he likes to stay in the shadows, and whatever that is, was blowing out the candles, trying to stay in the dark, hidden. And as we know, the Shadow Man can manipulate people, he can pretend to be things that he's not. He can, you could say, morph into something that isn't his actual self. So, could that be the Shadow Man? Whatever it is, a great evil has entered Samantha's room through the open window and is watching her, floating around the room, watching what Samantha does. And then as we get towards the end, you will see that Samantha stands up. She notices that something is in the room with her, or at least that's what it seems like. And so she stands up and then she disappears. Is this representing that this great evil in the room suddenly takes Samantha? And then once she's disappeared, another version of her walks in the room, realizes the window is open, and quickly closes it to keep out the evil. I definitely think that could be one reason as to why the window has to be closed. It is to keep out the evil from Samantha's room. We see in this cutscene that the window wasn't closed, and as a result of that, the evil entered a room and took Samantha. And actually, we even see, as I said earlier in the video, if we go all the way back to Kine der Toten, on the evil version of Samantha's room, the window is open. It has been broken. So could that be even more evidence? When the window is left open in this bedroom, this allows the evil to enter, and that is a result of this evil version that we see in Kino der Toten. That is what's happened. And then on the normal version, is it a coincidence that the window is closed? We don't know. That's something that's not officially being explained to us by Treyarch and is still a little bit of a mystery, but putting these things together, they kind of add up. So there we go, hopefully that answers your question. Of course, maybe it's not that, it could be meaning something else. But if it's that important to Maxis that the window has to be closed, it can only be for one reason, which is to keep her safe. And he's only going to do that by keeping the evil, the apothecans, away from her. As we know, she was already infected by the dark ether when she came to the house, and so Monty took her away and cleansed her, and then brought the clean version, the uninfected version of her back to the house. Maybe that's what this is showing. This is the infected version of Samantha in the house. This is the version of her that got brought here just after Origins. And we know that this is the infected version of her because we see that evil from the dark ether following her around the house. The window is open, so it's able to enter and leave whenever it wishes. Dr. Monty comes to the house, takes her, that's why she disappears, and then a second later, we see a clean version of her, an uninfected version of her, walk through the door. She realizes the window is open and closes it to make sure that this version of her doesn't get infected. So to answer your question, what happens when Samantha ignores the window in the house? I believe that the evil is able to enter, and a result of that is what we see in this Zombies Chronicles cutscene, or even the evil version of Samantha's room in Kino der Toten. So there we go, 3 questions answered for you guys today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If there's anything you want to know in the zombie storyline, any questions you have, leave them in the comments, and then hopefully I can pick them to answer in the next video. Thank you for watching. Leave a like rating if you haven't already. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies videos on the channel. Make sure you check out episode 1 of our zombies questions. I will link it down in the description. And of course, we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.